So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything is good wherever you are. So guys, Manny Pacquiao has mentioned that if he beats Errol Spence, he's in the all-time great discussion. And I think what he meant by that is he's in the GOAT discussion, because he's already an all-time great, irrespective of the result against Errol Spence. And a lot of people seem to think, what is it that drives Manny Pacquiao? Why is Manny Pacquiao still fighting? There's nothing for him to prove. Why does he need to fight Errol Spence? See, let me tell you something about great athletes and great sportsmen. Sometimes when we look at them and think they've got so much money, they've got everything, there's nothing for them to improve. Just leave it now. But what drives them is to break records. They don't need the money. Pacquiao don't need the money anymore. Pacquiao doesn't need to fight in order to cement his he's already cemented his legacy. He's an all-time great. You know, he's only now going to enhance his legacy. He can't really diminish it. You see what I mean? He's only going to enhance it because he's already done what he's had to do, and what he's done is already appreciated by all of the boxing fans, and already people think he's one of the greatest. But as he just said there, that if I beat Errol Spence, I'll be in the GOAT discussion. That's what's motivating Manny Pacquiao. That's what's motivating him and saying, you know what? I want to keep going. I want to keep fighting. I want to keep proving. I want to keep proving to the world that I am the great. And he's basically trying to solidify that he's one of the greatest ever, or he is the greatest. That's what you do. That's what motivates a lot of these great athletes. They want to keep going. Like people say the same about Roger Federer. Why does he want to keep playing tennis? He's achieved everything. He's already an all-time great. There's no reason, because he wants to keep breaking records. He wants to keep adding to his legacy. It becomes an almost like an addiction. Like you want to keep going. You want to keep breaking records. You want to keep, and that's what Pacquiao. I feel like Pacquiao's the same. I think Pacquiao wants to keep breaking records. Pacquiao wants to keep going and proving to the world that he's one of the greatest. That's what I think. That's what I think anyway. Just my humble opinion, I think that's what Pacquiao wants to do. I think he wants to keep proving to the world that he's one of the greatest ever. Or he is the greatest ever. And by beating Errol Spence, like I said to you, and I said to you on the live stream as well, that if he beats Errol Spence, and if you were to say Manny Pacquiao is the greatest fighter of all time, you know, you can't really argue that he's not. There's a good case for him being the greatest. Doesn't matter if you lost. Losses don't mean you can't be the greatest. Most people think Sugar Ray Robinson is the greatest fighter of all time. He had multiple losses. 19 or 17 losses throughout his career. Losses don't mean that you're not the greatest. Just because you're undefeated like Mayweather doesn't mean you're the greatest. I don't buy that. Because the greatest can be seen in different things. The greatest can be seen as a guy that's moved up 8 weight divisions. A greatest can be seen, you know, someone like Muhammad Ali became, 3-time heavyweight champion. Like the greatest can be seen like Mayweather. You know, it's subjective. That he's undefeated, never lost. But there's a lot of variables of being the greatest. The fact that Manny Pacquiao at the age of 42, let's not forget Floyd retired in 2015, right? That was 6 years ago. He would have been 38 or something, 37, right? Manny Pacquiao at the age of 42 just beat, or at 40, he beat a welterweight world champion in Thurman, and now he's going to fight a unified, undefeated welterweight world champion at the age of 42. That's record-breaking. Who's a top 5 pound-for-pounder in Errol Spence. Those are record-breaking feats. You know, like I said to you, tell me a win that comes close for it, that a 42-year-old man beating in prime top 5 pound-for-pounder. You won't be able to name me one example. People say George Foreman's the closest at the age of 45, became the oldest heavyweight, but he was fighting Michael Moorer, who was in nobody's top 10 pound-for-pound. You know, Manny Pacquiao is fighting a guy who's who most people think is going to be a future Hall of Famer. Obviously, he's not a Hall of Famer right now. He's still got a lot to achieve and a lot to do before he gets put in that category. But a lot of people, think that Errol Spence is the next coming, right? So, if Manny Pacquiao beats him, then surely that places Manny Pacquiao very high in boxing history, because he'd be beating somebody that's very, very highly rated in the boxing circle, somebody that's rated as one of the great fighters in the modern era. So if Pacquiao beats him, then surely that puts him very high, on the all-time pound-for-pound list, because most great fighters fizzled out, in their later years. You look at Ali, Robinson, they kind of fizzled out. Manny Pacquiao still going strong, and if he beats a top 5 pound-for-pound young star like Spence, then I'm sorry, that is, you're in the GOAT debate. Without question, he's one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT. He beats Errol Spence. Wow. You're looking at Ali Robinson Company for Pacquiao, because that is phenomenal feat. Like I said, I don't think any of the old ones or any of the greatest that we consider the greatest of all time, like I said, have probably had a win of this kind of significance at such a late stage in their career. 42. I don't care whether, now there's science and all of that. Yes, fighters can go on longer. 42 is 42. Doesn't matter what science you have. It doesn't matter what you have. 42 is 42. Your body's your body, and you can only sharpen it as much as you can sharpen it. As it gets older, it starts to wear down. It's just like a machine. As you get older, it doesn't matter how well you take care of it. You could take care of a machine, but over time, that machine, no matter how well you take care of it, it's going to wear down. Your body's the same. As you get older, your body gets slower. It doesn't matter whether you take care of it, you give it the right nutrients, you take care of it, you do all the right things you need to do in terms of massages and, ice baths and all of that. It doesn't matter what you do and what science has told us we need to do to, better our sports performance. At the age of 42, it's 42. You're getting older. Your body's gonna wear down naturally. So this would be an incredible win for all those reasons, and I don't think anyone can argue. And I know Manny Pacquiao has his detractors, but I just don't see how anyone can kind of disagree with the fact that Manny Pacquiao would be considered as one of the greatest of all time. Without question, he'd be up there as one of the top fighters ever. And I think you could easily put him top 1. You could put him as the best. You put him top 2, top 3, top 5 without question. Because, like I said, there isn't many fighters in the history of the sport that firstly have had the career Manny Pacquiao has, and then secondly to be doing as well in their twilight of their career, where they're competing against the best guys in the sport at that kind of age. I don't think any fighter has been able to do that. It's incredible to think that Manny Pacquiao is even going to get in the ring with Errol Spence next month. And then there's the fact that, there's a chance he may even pull it off. That's incredible, the fact that we're even talking about that. So this is a guy that's, an inspirational fighter, inspirational boxer, and guy that's without question going to go down as one of the greatest ever. Regardless of the result, he's going to go down one of the greatest ever. I just think if he beats Errol Spence, he solidifies his claim for being the GOAT of boxing. Because I just don't see any fighter in the history that are doing things like that. 42-year-old beating a young top 5 pound-for-pounder. It's ridiculous. That is just surreal. But that's Manny Pacquiao. That's the height that this man operates at. And like I said, I can't wait for next month. We're not long. We're just under a month away now from this big fight. I think it's gonna be massive. Let's hope there's no COVID that delays it or anything like that comes and delays the fight. Hopefully not, and hopefully we get to see the fight, and hopefully we get to see a great fight. I want to see. I think there's going to be a lot of questions answered by Errol Spence, because I think Manny Pacquiao is going to test him a lot more than Danny Garcia did. I'm not sure Danny Garcia fought his best fight that night. I'm not sure Danny Garcia did all he could do. I think Danny Garcia could have tested Spence a lot more. Unfortunately, it wasn't Danny Garcia's best performance. I did expect Danny Garcia to give Errol Spence a lot more trouble than what he did. But that could have been Danny Garcia explained that, you know, the situation, the pandemic, not being able to get the sparring partners in probably didn't help his cause. I kind of agree with that. I don't think it would have helped his cause. But I definitely do think that Manny Pacquiao will test him a lot more. And I think this will be an acid test for Errol Spence. This might be his hardest fight. And if it does get harder than Porter, then he probably loses it, because that was, you know, that was a very, very razor thin fight. Some people thinking that Errol Spence lost that fight against Porter. I personally had it very close. I think Spence probably nicked it with the knockdown, but it was a very, very good fight. And hopefully Pacquiao can bring the heat. Pacquiao's a different fight. He's not a pressure fighter. He uses his angles and his hand speed, move to side to side. I think he's going to make it difficult and awkward and for Errol Spence. I do. But it's just whether Errol Spence's youth, how does Errol Spence approach the fight? Does he look to become that pressure fighter and walk Manny down? Does he look to use that jab and use his physical advantages and box on the outside? How's Errol Spence going to approach this fight, which is going to be very interesting to me. I can't wait. And Manny Pacquiao could put himself in the GOAT discussion if he's not already there. If he's already not in the GOAT discussion, he's putting himself into that discussion if he wins, without question. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.